This game garnered a lot of attention when it was first announced, and for very good reason. There's just nothing else like it nowadays. So, coming out for the Xbox One and Microsoft machines, we have Cuphead, Don't Deal with the Devil. There's a lesson in there, folks. I gotta admit that I wasn't entirely interested when I first saw Cuphead. I like old school cartoons, don't get me wrong, I grew up on the Looney Tunes after all, but for some reason, this game just didn't seem like it was gonna be all that great. So, how does it hold up now? Well, let's find out. First of all, the premise of this game is actually something I wasn't expecting. Basically, Cuphead and Mugman are a couple of mischievous kids who find themselves in the low town and decide to take their chances at a local casino, directly disobeying their guardian, the Elder Kettle. They're actually striking it big until the owner of the casino, the devil himself, decides to put in a wager of his own, and of course, not only do Cuphead and Mugman end up losing all of their winnings, but also their souls. They are forced to beg for mercy, and, being one to toy with his victims, the devil decides to give them a sporting chance by having them collect all of the contracts from previous debtors that the devil has dealt with in the past. With no other choice left, Cuphead and Mugman embark on a journey to collect those contracts and, hopefully in time, find a way to get themselves out of this mess and beat the devil at his own game. At its core, Cuphead is what's known as a run-and-gun platformer, similar to the likes of Contra, where you're basically on a side-scrolling adventure and your main method to deal with enemies is by literally shooting them to death. That's not to say that all you'll be doing in this game is jumping and shooting. Cuphead and Mugman do stand out with their own special abilities, including an aerial dash and parry, the ability to aim in all 8 directions, and throughout your adventure you'll be collecting these gold coins that you can spend on power-ups and upgrades to spice things up even further. And you're going to need all the help you can get because from both an artistic and gameplay standpoint, Cuphead does not hold back. Artistically, this game is a marvel. It's obviously a love letter to old school animations and cartoons, and I think it does a really good job with it. Everything is all jumpy and whimsical, but at the same time just as absurd as some of the most obscure cartoons back in the day. You can just tell that the artists were having a field day with this one. Everything is so colorful and expressive, but at the same time, it's constantly reminding you of just how dark some of this animation can get. Even the music has this old-timey feel to it, with a lot of honky-tonks and trombones. It all comes together to make a very impressive piece of work. As for the gameplay itself, I'm pretty sure that this game is also a love letter to old-school video games, because goodness gracious, this game is hard. And yet, it's hard in a way that I think feels fair, because the mechanics of Cuphead are very simple and easy to get used to. The difficulty really comes from just how desperate these bosses are to not have their souls taken away. What's more, a second player can come in and play as Mugman, and with the parry mechanic you can actually revive your dead allies, so having a second player actually makes this game a lot easier. I have heard that some people find the game's difficulty to be a problem. The game has 2 difficulty settings, and the true ending of this game is apparently hidden behind the harder ending, so some people feel that the game is keeping certain people from getting the full experience because they can't beat it. Well, I don't buy that argument for one very specific reason, and that's the inherent nature of this game's difficulty. It's trial and error. Cuphead is basically just a collection of bosses in short levels, and when you die, you have to restart the challenge you're on, but all of the challenges in this game are relatively short, so you're not getting punished all that much. And since there's no life counter, you can retry as many times as you want. I actually compare it to Dark Souls in that it's brutal but forgiving, and it encourages you to learn from your mistakes and persist until you can overcome the challenge. And Cuphead is designed in such a way that this kind of difficulty works. So really, the only thing stopping you from completing the game is your own level of tenacity. And let's be honest, Cuphead is not the most unforgiving game in the world. Play 10 minutes of Darkest Dungeon and you'll see what I'm talking about. So at the end of it all, I don't really have anything negative to say about Cuphead. It's certainly not the greatest game I've ever played, but I definitely consider it a highlight in modern game development. The game is expertly paced, well designed, the mechanics are fun and easy to get used to, and from start to finish, this game is bursting with old school charm. Anyone who's interested in the history of cartoons and animation will definitely get something out of this game. And for those of you like me who are coming in looking for a challenge, better pull up your britches, it's gonna be a wild ride.